Apple might be working on not one, but two different foldable iPhones. While everyone's been talking about the iPhone Fold that's expected later this year, new reports suggest Apple is already thinking about their next move. Mark Gurman from Bloomberg just dropped some interesting news about Apple exploring a flip-style iPhone design. You know, like those compact clamshell phones that fold in half instead of opening up like a book. This could completely change how we think about the future of iPhones. Today, we're going to break down everything we know about Apple's foldable phone plans, from the iPhone Fold coming this year to the potential iPhone Flip down the road. We'll look at the specs, the battery life that could beat Samsung, and what this means for the entire smartphone industry. Let's start with what Bloomberg's Mark Gurman revealed about Apple's flip phone exploration. According to his sources, Apple is currently testing a square, clamshell-like iPhone in their labs. This is different from the book-style iPhone Fold that everyone expects to launch later this year. Think of it like Samsung's Z Flip versus their Z Fold series. The Flip design would be more compact and focused on portability rather than giving you a tablet-like experience. But here's the important part. Gurman made it clear that there's no guarantee this iPhone Flip will ever make it to market. Apple is taking a wait-and-see approach with their first foldable phone. They want to test how consumers respond to the iPhone Fold before deciding whether to move forward with other foldable designs. This actually makes a lot of sense when you look at Apple's history. They've always been careful about entering new product categories. Remember how long it took them to release the Apple Watch after smartwatches became popular? Or how they waited to see how the tablet market developed before launching the iPad? Apple's strategy has always been to watch the market, learn from other companies' mistakes, and then release a polished product. Now, this isn't the first time we've heard rumors about Apple working on flip-style devices. Back in 2024, reports suggested that Apple had built several prototypes of clamshell foldable devices for testing. At that time, some people even thought Apple might launch a flip-style phone before a book-style one. But after looking at all the options, Apple decided to focus first on the larger, book-style foldable model. The reasoning behind potentially bringing both designs to market is pretty smart. If the iPhone Fold sells well and creates real demand for foldable phones, consumers will probably want more options. This is exactly what Apple did with the regular iPhone lineup over the years. We started with just one iPhone model, and now we have Plus versions, Pro models, mini options, in different sizes. An iPhone Flip would serve a different purpose than the iPhone Fold. While the Fold would be about performance, multitasking, and giving you more screen space, the Flip would be about convenience and portability. It would appeal to people who want the latest technology but prefer a more compact phone that fits easily in their pocket. Let's talk about the iPhone Fold that's actually expected to launch this year. Based on current leaks, it's going to be similar to Samsung's Galaxy Fold series. When you open it up, you get a tablet-like experience with a display that's about 7.8 inches. This makes it perfect for watching videos, gaming, and multitasking with multiple apps at once. The external display, which you'd use when the phone is closed, is expected to be about 5.5 inches. That's actually shorter than a standard iPhone, so you get a more compact experience when you don't need the full screen. One of the biggest challenges with foldable phones has always been the crease that forms along the fold line. You know how current foldable phones have that visible line down the middle when you open them? Well, Apple might have solved this problem. Multiple reports suggest that Apple has managed to overcome this issue using a hinge made of liquid metal. This is a special metallic glass alloy that's considered stronger and more resistant to wear than even titanium. Samsung recently showed off a new foldable panel without a visible crease at CES 2026. Since Apple gets many of their iPhone displays from Samsung, they might end up using the same technology. This could give the iPhone Fold a significant advantage over current foldable phones on the market. Now let's talk about one area where the iPhone Fold might really embarrass the competition: battery life. According to leaked information, the iPhone Fold is expected to have a battery capacity of around 5,500 mAh. To put this in perspective, Samsung has been using a 4,400 mAh battery in their Galaxy Z Fold phones since 2021. That's a difference of more than 1,000 mAh, which could translate to several extra hours of usage. Even compared to Google's Pixel Fold, which has a 5,015 mAh battery, Apple's would still be significantly larger. Now, some Chinese manufacturers like Honor and Vivo do offer foldable phones with batteries around 5,800 to 6,000 mAh. So Apple wouldn't be breaking any records, but they'd still be very competitive. The real advantage for Apple comes from their combination of hardware and software optimization. Apple's phones typically get better battery life than Android phones, even with smaller batteries. This means the iPhone Fold could potentially outlast rival foldable phones that have even larger batteries. The design specs for the iPhone Fold are pretty impressive too. When closed, the device is expected to be about 9 millimeters thick. When opened, it would be around 4.5 millimeters thick, which is actually thinner than the rumored iPhone Air at 5.6 millimeters. Making a foldable phone that thin while keeping it durable is a serious engineering challenge. Reports suggest the casing will be made of titanium combined with aluminum or stainless steel to achieve the right balance of strength and weight. Under the hood, the iPhone Fold is expected to feature Apple's new 2nm A20 chip. This would be similar in performance to Samsung's Exynos 2 600 found in the S26 Ultra. The phone will also reportedly include Apple's new in-house developed C2 modem. This should provide better performance and energy efficiency, which is crucial when you're powering those enormous screens. For cameras, current rumors suggest two 48-megapixel rear cameras and a 24-megapixel front-facing camera located under the internal display. The timeline for the iPhone Fold looks like this. Mass production is expected to begin in the fourth quarter of 2026 for a September launch. That lines up with Apple's traditional iPhone release schedule. Analyst Ming-Chi Kuo predicts Apple will produce between 3 to 5 million units of the iPhone Fold. This suggests Apple is positioning their foldable smartphone as a niche product, at least initially. It's similar to how Samsung approached their Z Trifold, as a technological showcase rather than a mass-market device. This makes sense for Apple's first entry into the foldable market. They can test consumer response, work out any issues, and then potentially expand production if demand is strong. Going back to the potential iPhone Flip, the timing would depend entirely on how well the iPhone Fold performs. If consumers embrace foldable iPhones, we might see Apple move forward with flip-style designs. If the market response is lukewarm, Apple might stick with just improving their book-style foldable design. What's interesting is that Apple seems to be preparing for multiple scenarios. By developing prototypes for both form factors, they can quickly pivot based on market conditions and consumer preferences. So there you have it. Apple's foldable future might include both book-style and flip-style designs. The iPhone Fold launching later this year could be just the beginning of a whole new category of iPhones. With potentially industry-leading battery life, a crease-free display, and Apple's typical attention to detail, the iPhone Fold might set a new standard for foldable phones. And if it's successful, we might see that compact iPhone Flip become a reality too. What do you think about Apple's approach to foldable phones? Are you more interested in the tablet-like iPhone Fold, or would you prefer a compact flip-style design? Let me know in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video if you found it helpful. So, subscribe for more tech news, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss any updates about Apple's foldable phone developments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.